I saw wasn't human.
Oh my God!
It was very tall. What's more, it saw me. This thing.
Rawhead Rex.
This podcast is not safe for work and will feature movie spoilers. It will feature scenes described of a graphic nature. It will contain language which most listeners may find offensive. Welcome to the podcast Under the Stairs. And welcome back to another instalment of Rawhead Rex in Pieces. This is a sub-series of the podcast Under the Stairs where we take beloved classic Rawhead Rex from 1986. We dissect it into 5-minute reviewable segments. I then give those segments to podcasters around the globe and they will join me to discuss it. But with all things podcast Under the Stairs, I throw a little bit of trickery in there. And the trickery is that the release order of these episodes will not be linear. So this might actually be the first episode you're listening to. It might be the last one. It could be somewhere in between, which will be wholly confusing if it's one of the starting episodes, because we are covering on this one minutes 80 through 85, so that's 1 hour 20 to 1 hour 25 for the uninitiated out there. Joining me on this episode is a long-time friend of the pod, a dirty collaborator with Podcasts Under the Stairs, if you will. It is my good buddy Ricky Morgan. How you doing?
Man, let's just hope that this is the first episode that drops for everybody.
I kind of hope your second episode is the first one that drops for everyone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just be like, you imagine me like, oh, I wonder. I've never heard anyone go in depth on Rawhead Rex, and then it's just nothing.
I just love that you open with the beloved Rawhead Rex. I mean, because
my tongue was in my cheek there, firmly planted. Like, you and Baz are the only two hosts. I didn't get one on the previous run for Pieces, but the only two hosts this season around that have got back-to-back time slots. So you landed minutes 80 through 85 and then 85 to the end of the movie. So you got like right at the very end here. He landed somewhere right at the start. It was weird how that worked out. But we were kind of joking off here. Ain't a whole lot to talk about in either one of these episodes. So if the other one dropped first, I imagine it was a bit shorter than this, and I imagine we probably reuse a lot of our jokes that we're going to use here. So let's hope those episodes are spread out far apart. I do like asking you these sorts of questions, though, Ricky, because I know that you have been a genre fan for many a moon now. But did you catch Rawhead Rex in or around when it came out, or was this one of those discoveries that came much later on in like the 90s when Clive Barker's prowess, so to speak, was maybe at a higher standing? When did you come across Rawhead Rex?
I saw this after Hellraiser, so a little later, but not into the 90s. I saw this, I want to say, maybe 89, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And at the time, I had no idea it was even the same person. They just, hey, you see the VHS box, and you're like, yeah, let's do this, right?
Yeah.
And then you put it together, and like, oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it's the thing, isn't it? Like, because Clive Barker, like, infamously said, and I've said this on a few recordings already, that had this movie not been as bad as it was, he would not have been in a position to never let, in his words, although this would change, he was never going to let another director take a stab at one of his, works. And as a result of that, a year later we get Hellraiser. So in a world where Rawhead Rex is a better movie, Clive Barker's Hellraiser doesn't exist.
That's right.
Which is nuts to think about, because that movie in itself, like, churned out, you can chart that right back to a whole series of, and I'm not just mean Hellraiser movies, but a whole series of different styles of horror filmmaking that come out post-Hellraiser. I don't think there's, like, you can say the same about Rawhead Rex. I don't think there's like a whole host of Rawhead Rex clones that come out after this movie.
I will say when Hellraiser came out, I remember walking out of the theater. Remember in House of a Thousand Corpses when the guys take the little ride and they come out and the guy jumps down his knees and goes, "Dr. Satan!"
Yeah.
That's kind of how I was with Hellraiser when I came out. I was like, this movie is perfect. We don't need any sequels. It's great like it is. Let's just leave it like that. And what did that get us?
Well, Clive Barker heard you, at least. He was like that. I don't need to make another one of these. Sadly, the studio was like that. We need all of these. we need as many as we can. One time, Pinhead will be chunkier. Other times, he will be a woman. But, that's for the future. My interest in Rawhead Rex mostly comes out of the fact that, well, I remember the cover at the VHS store. I remember checking it out for the first time, and almost within 5 minutes being like, I have no idea what I've just got myself into. And by the end of the movie, just going like that, well, what did I just watch? It's kind of, I think a lot of people, I think it's found traction nowadays off the back of that. Is like that, if you've never seen it before, to sit down and watch this movie for the first time, you're just like, how did this get made? Like whose
cocaine.
eye was off the ball?
It's cocaine. That's what happened. I mean, you think about a lot of the movies that came out in the 80s that got greenlit, and you're like, they had to just did a big line and go, yeah, let's do it.
And there's a point of, that's why the early 90s are so sobering for horror movies, is things went to the furthest extreme of absurdity that they could, and then it contracted hard. And then that's why you're getting things like Misery and Silence of the Lambs. There must be no joy in these movies.
Right.
Only despair. Well, in this movie, it's just like, no one can act. The creature doesn't look right. The soundtrack's bizarre. And, a priest gets pissed on. So, I mean...
Yep. Take this movie and Demon Wind and put them back to back, and you've got a great night.
You've a fucking great night, Ricky. That is a night that requires a couple of beers deep, big old bowl of popcorn, and just a lot of yelling high fives and rewinding to that scene again so you can watch it again. On this episode, we're discussing minutes 80 through 85, so we're really at the catalyst here. It will start with the Verger, Declan O'Brien, kind of standing silently looking at Rex because he's already kind of given them the update. However, it will finish with David Duke slamming a shovel across Rex, who is lying bathed in blue light, down and out for the count on top of a grave. There isn't really a huge amount to talk about here, so might as well get into it. So, like I say, the Verger is standing with Rex. David Duke runs into the graveyard, and the Verger's like, there he is, there! And Duke foolishly, it's almost as if he wasn't paying attention to the stained glass window, holds the statue above his head. And I kind of love this. Like, Rex kind of looks at the Verger, looks at the stone, smacks the Verger to the ground, and then angrily snarls at Duke, who... His comeback here is... You got to remember, his child has died within the last 24 hours here, right? He's like, okay, sweetheart, let's do it.
Do your thing.
Do your thing. Like, he's 2 steps away from being Ash from The Evil Dead.
Right.
Like, okay, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, groovy. Like, it's just, it doesn't match up. So he tells him to come on. Once again, I'm not saying that Predator ripped off this movie, but Predator totally ripped off this movie. Come on, do it now. You know what I mean? He literally, like, he's minus Mud, obviously, but Arnie, I think, stole this performance. And Rawhead grills, because I love his grill in this. He's like, and Duke's reply is, do it now. Because he's now full Schwarzenegger. And like I say, there isn't a lot that happens here. Rex walks towards David Duke. The Verger gets up. Duke starts panicking that the stone isn't working, because he didn't obviously read the instructions. And gets knocked over and the statue falls to the ground. And then we get what... See, like, you... Declan O'Brien, like, this is probably our last chance to really, like, shine a spotlight on the MVP of this movie. The Verger is a great character, right? Because he's fucking bonkers, right? And this is the great example of this. Kill the fucker now! And you're like, it's just like, there's at some point he's not swearing. He's forcing everyone to sing hallelujah, right? He touches the hot box to become Rex's companion, minion, or whatever. And from that point, the word fuck just flows out of this guy's mouth as if he was Scottish. It's just like he doesn't hold back, and it's kind of amazing. But even in this one, like, he hams it up. I love this character. I love this actor so much. I don't know what else he did, but he's absolutely amazing. He's just so over the top.
And you have to have it, right? I mean, if you even refer back to, like, Dracula, you got to have Renfield, right?
Yep.
So something has to carry that, right? Something that's just off enough that kind of carries you through it, and that's exactly what this guy is. And it's just, it steals the show. It really does.
100%. Every time I watch it, I kind of love him more. But he says, kill the fucker now, and Rex grabs him and lifts the Verger up in some sort of weird bear hug, and the Verger's like, take me! Yes! And then, what you forget, this movie does have, notwithstanding the creature design, does have cool effects. Like, we get like a good old blood gusher right up the side of the Verger's neck as he's being bitten into. And this is all he wanted. He did say that before in the previous scene where he's like that, kill me, I hope. You know, he's like, he's desperate to die. He's
ready to go.
He's ready to shark off this mortal coil. So he's dead. And as this is happening, this is when Elaine, Duke's wife, runs in, and the first thing she says is, oh my god, which is not what I would say. I'd be like, what the fuck? But she's like, so she runs across to help David Duke, who doesn't want any help. He's like, you've got to get out of here! Get to the chopper! He may not have said chopper, right? And he pushes her away, even though she's trying to help him. And then she lets out like a slow motion Howard. It's like, Howard! And they start what can only be described as a Star Trek The Original Series fight. It's fucking amazing. I'm loving it. All that was missing was like the Peugeot sticks. The two of them are doing their mysterious dance of action, and Elaine looks down and sees the statue, to which she picks up, and all of a sudden we're in a discotheque. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, it's like Donna Summer's coming out on the floor, gonna sing last chance for love. And she's holding up this statue, which starts pissing light
everywhere.
Out of it.
Absolutely everywhere. The special effects guy, the digital special effects guy was like, now is my time to shine. How many digital light effects do we need? All of them.
All of everything we got.
Oh man, this is so 80s. They do this effect in God knows how many 80s movies. The thing is, I think Poltergeist has a lot to blame for this.
I kind of pulled from a different source myself.
Yeah, there's also a bit. Where did you pull from? Was it Indiana Jones by any chance?
Yeah, exactly. I thought somewhere somebody said they took two clips to say, I want you to take the ending of Highlander And
Oh
the
God,
ending
that is so Highlander.
and Raiders of the Lost Ark and make these things happen. It'll be spectacular.
I mean, it's something. Spectacular is maybe not the word of it. It is full on light show, and I've put here effects are classic 80s. One could say 80s AF, and it just fires light everywhere. And at first, Rex is having none of it. He's like kind of swatting it away, and he continues walking forward, and then all of a sudden, like, a woman in a red cloak appears. Kind of like what happened when all the Planeteers joined their powers together and summoned Captain Planet.
Right.
So
Captain Planet!
Captain Planet in a red cloak appears, and she like is this apparition from the stone, and then David Duke has to get his line out. Just to explain to the audience who totally understand everything that's going on here. This is not needing this at all, but he's like that. A woman. It had to be a woman.
A woman.
A woman. Who would have thought a woman would have to defeat this giant marauding penis monster?
Right. Yeah.
It's
exactly.
like, oh, for fuck's sake. Anyway, I've put it here. This is a classic Duncan quote here. Rex is pretty much fucked at this point. So the lights start lighting up all the gravestones in a kind of ritualistic circle around them, and then he's still trying to swat the lights away, but then they start wrapping around them, and I don't know if there is some sort of Clive Barker subtext here about the life force of a woman draining the life force of a man. I don't know. All I know is Rex ages horribly in this scene.
Real quick, yeah.
Like real quick. Once again, I don't know if that's Clive Barker just inserting something into the story. But Rex falls over. Elaine starts walking towards Rex, who's writhing in agony, and then David Duke picks up a shovel, runs along, and smacks him, which I'm just going to be honest, did nothing.
Right.
Except maybe help his ego a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
take this.
I mean, the shovel at any other point would have totally been pointless, but here it matters, right?
Because he has to be the one to do the final shot because he's the man.
Yeah. It's kind of like the king in Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
After they've killed the dragon, he walks out there with a sword and plants it in and goes, there. So, yes. All right.
Yes. It is dead now. I have killed it. Applaud me later. So yeah, that's really the end of these 5 minutes. It's mostly digital effects.
I love you said that there's nothing to talk about. And there's a whole bunch to talk about because it's just explaining it is the problem.
Yeah, I enjoyed the segment because it was low on dialogue, which meant I didn't have to type much into my notes. But it is really kind of right. So this is how we're finishing this movie. Like he's murdered children. He's murdered like gypsies. He's murdered like ordinary townsfolk. He's been on the hill. He's got superhuman power and all the rest. And ultimately, a stone and some lighting effects are going to take this guy down.
Yep, that's the 80s in a nutshell.
Yeah, pretty.
It really is.
You know what? And you know why? It's one of the reasons I love it. It's one of the reasons I love it. Like they were like that. How do we finish the movie? And it's like we finish it. They're like this, and I'm sure someone in the writing room was like that. Do we have to do it that way? And like just the studio exec on the other side doesn't even answer him. He's just smiling, and just nodding. Yeah. You know it. You know it. This is how we finish a movie in the goddamn 80s. But this isn't even the end. This is just like almost the end for Rex. Ricky, you will actually be on the episode in which we have the end of Rex, or do we? Do you have I was going to say a favourite line. There's next to no dialogue in this. Do you have a particular favourite shot from these 5 minutes?
I just love the interaction when he first walks up and goes, "Here he comes! There he is, right there!" It's like pumping up your wrestler to get in the ring and go whip this guy. It's like, I told you, here he comes, right there.
Listen here, brother, the 24-inch pythons is like, to me, anything with a Verger in it, like him like literally in the throes of ecstasy saying, "Take me, yes." You're like, easy now.
I think what I love the most though, I like Rawhead's eyes.
Yeah.
Because they not only do they light up, but they go around the pupil when they light up. It's like, hey, they did this on the car in Knight Rider. Why can't we do this with his eyes? You know?
Wom, wom, wom,
Exactly.
wom.
Like he's a
This is like the
Cylon,
effect.
you know?
Like, wom, 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 wom. Love it. Absolutely love it.
And the fact of, the animatronic head
Yeah.
looks pretty good, but when it's the dummy head on the person, it looks terrible.
Oh,
She
always.
gets
Yeah.
these shots back and forth. It's like, looks good, looks like shit, looks good, looks like. I mean, it's
There's like no consistency either. Like there really isn't. And like with some smart editing and smart camera placement, you could probably hide the fact that there is no head in this head. We keep joking about whenever he starts running, he runs like a Teletubby. It's kind of amazing. It's always that cartoon run of there's at least 4 or 5 steps on the spot before he starts actually moving forward. It's like, listen, it is what it is. It's hugely entertaining, and that's the big thing for me. Is it a great movie? No. Do I smile and laugh and point when I'm watching it? Yes, always. Ricky, you're a busy guy. You've got podcasts and stuff out there. Where can people check out your stuff, man?
Legion Podcast, cranking out Doctor Movie. I'm doing basically 5 episodes a week because I'm stupid like that.
Insane. You make me feel like I'm being lazy.
Well, I did take a week off last week, so I'm a little behind. So, but, hey, it's your fault, right? Because I try to follow your lead, and sometimes I go, is that a good lead?
Like the answer to that question is always no. Like if you ever reach out to me, I will tell you, do not be like me. Be anyone else but me. Because
yours is more difficult than I, because I'm throwing on a microphone, I'm driving down the road and spitting out 15 minutes of, yeah, this movie's pretty good, you might want to check it out. So
and you've also you have Hail Ming, the Hail Ming Power Hour still
Ming.
churning along, buddy.
kind of been on a hiatus. Danny's had a lot of home issues.
Yeah.
He's like having to bust up the floor and get people coming in and replacing stuff. So yeah, we've kind of been stuck. And I am working on something. I haven't announced it really yet, but I've got something brewing that I'm really, really happy about. And we'll see where that leads. So I'm not going to give too much away. Let's just say it has something to do with the 80s.
Oh, I love everything you just said there. So, what I would say is just make sure with Danny and the ripping up the floorboards and all the rest, he makes sure that they didn't actually move the headstones.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, just I always like 'cause I know what you Americans are like. You just build houses wherever you want. Like,
But I know Danny, and he would be totally pleased if he found a penis monster down there.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been checking out another one of these episodes. I genuinely don't know where this one will drop. So this very much might be the first episode, or it might be the last one. What I do know is in October, every single day, we're dropping an episode of Podcast Under the Stairs, and this is falling as part of that, and it won't be the last episode this month. So there will be more of me tomorrow. So until then, take care.